Back to the channel, and someone's at the door. Thank you for dropping by. We're going to kind of let people roll in anyway. But today I wanted to kind of talk about some strategies and maybe bouncing off ideas on how we can sort of adapt and make eBay work. I know a lot of people are leaving the platform. A lot of people are maybe just cross-posting and haven't thought about leaving the platform. But for me, it's one of those things where it's a challenge right now. It's become a challenge. I could tell you my sales this weekend were not that great. It's pretty funny. My sales were probably cut into about half as compared to the holiday weekend that we just had, where a lot of people thought, well, it's a holiday weekend, don't expect a lot of sales. Well, my sales were normal. I could tell you my sales were cut in half, and I just don't know why. My first thought that comes to my mind is maybe, I didn't get as good as stuff up this last week, and maybe there's some truth to that. I have a lot of stuff that I'm picking up this week, so I'm pretty excited about that, and maybe that'll change things for me. But it got me to thinking a little bit. So we watched Josh Galt. If you haven't checked out his channel, check it out after we're done here with the live. I believe he's with us today in the live stream. But check out his channel. He had a pretty good discussion today. He does a daily live stream at 10 a.m., 1 p.m. Eastern. And today was kind of talking about an experience he had in talking with someone that has some experience with Cassini, which is eBay's sort of SEO search algorithm. And the discussion was very interesting to me. And it almost, it sort of was a revelation to what we were talking about back in February and March, the changes that I made, a lot of this stuff, and it kind of speaks to why it worked in my particular situation. And they talked about the different aspects of what Cassini looks for, like sell-through rate, listing quality, relevance of the search, your item in search, price, demand, account health, how you're promoting, if you're using promoting listings or not. But it's a lot of factors. We talk about listing quality. There's so many things that go into that by itself. And so there's so many things that if you're doing one thing right and you're not doing the others or not focusing on the others, it could be having an impact on your ability to sell the item, whatever item that you're looking for. But the top one is the one we're talking about since I've been talking about this year, most of the year, and that is your sell-through rate. It's your conversion rate if you're looking at it per item, because eBay sort of calculates a little bit differently with your account as a whole as sales conversion rate, which has something to do with the number of sales as it relates to your page views. Okay. So the goal here in my mind is to increase that number. That is the number one key. Now, talking to Josh, he was having some issues. He didn't have any sales. I'm sure a lot of you are out there that haven't had sales this last weekend. And I'm sure it has a lot to do with many of these things on this list. That is just a good percentage of the things that eBay is looking for, but not necessarily all of them. But sell-through rate is sort of the... Tim Telesio. I've got a friend that wants to call me while I'm doing a live, and he knows I'm doing a live. So anyway, it's one of those things where the number one reason, and that's sell-through, is what I think I'd like to talk about today. Now, if you have a large account that has a lot of undesirable items in those in that store, well, what do? I mean, you're kind of feeling like, I have all these listings, and I'm just not going to throw stuff away. And my thought that comes to my mind is somewhat similar to what I'm doing right now. And the only reason why I really haven't had a lot of good success with this process that I'm doing is because, if I'm being 100% honest with you, which I am 99.99999% of the time, we haven't put a whole lot of the kind of effort that most of you would be putting into that particular store. It's more of a clearance store. So it's kind of an afterthought store. We're spending a lot of time on our main store. And for me, it's hard to follow because I'm signed into my main store, not the secondary store. So the thought is this, and this is what we did. Take a tool like Octiva, I think, is one. InkFrog is one as well, where you paying $30-$40 one time for a monthly deal, and you're linking not only your main account, but you're creating a second store essentially. Okay. And you're getting rid of all the items out of your store that's under a certain price point. Like for me, it's like $20. And I still actually have on my main store some smaller ticket items. I don't know why I never moved over. So I'm doing that on a slower type of thing. I did like 5 to 10 today earlier, move those from the main store to the secondary store. But the idea is essentially to get those listings away from your higher ASP things. So give your higher ASP items their own store. Give your lower ASP items its own store. And yeah, I mean, you still, that secondary store might still suck, but it's not going to have a negative impact on the good stuff that's being impacted, because I'm a firm believer this information, it sounds very accurate what Josh was talking about. And I really think that as a whole, eBay does grade your store through based on sell through and a lot of these other factors. And account health is huge as well. So this is a message to really try to help people that are in that zone of struggling. And, this is maybe one thing you can try. And I know that it may not be popular because the idea is, I got to give eBay more money for another store. My thought is maybe downsize the first store and, go with the secondary store. And why not? I mean, why not give it a try to see if that's going to change something for you? So don't expect everyone to do it, but for those of you who have the means to do it, it's definitely certainly something to try. But I want to know what you guys think. What do you guys think about the changes that eBay is making in the back end with Cassini, really catering towards the higher end buyer, right? So they have 3 different tiers: a higher, mid, and low level buyer. And if eBay is sort of gradually shifting towards the higher end buyer, well, don't you think they're going to be gravitating towards the higher end seller as well? And I may have mentioned this about 2 months ago when eBay came out with their magical innovations announcement. And that's something we had talked about. But what Josh says kind of brings a lot of that home. And I think it was a really good discussion. So check out his channel when we're done here. And it's quite enlightening. Glitch of the day, before I get off my soapbox, wanted to show it to you actually. And I was doing that process, moving listings over. I was moving some shoes over to the secondary account. And I was looking at the search results, and everything seems small. And now maybe you guys have noticed it, or maybe you haven't. Maybe look up something in search, but the search results that I got, they didn't look right. So what I want to do is I want to show you that right now, if I can, and see what you guys think.
One quick question for you guys. When I do a search, I just did the search for Vans off the wall skate shoes, some shoes we're selling on the upper left hand corner here. But why are all the photos so small? I mean, I use square format and I zoom in on all my photos, but why are all the photos from different sellers, why are the shoes so small? Are these photos so small? I mean, if I'm a buyer, I want to see detail. I don't want to have to grab a magnifying glass or get up close to the screen to see what I'm buying here. I don't know what's going on. I don't know if this is the same for any other searches. This is the only one I bothered to do, but I can consider this as a glitch. This isn't ideal because, again, this isn't the best buying experience. You have to really, really squint, I guess, to even see if these maybe are the shoes you're looking for. So let me know what you think in the chat, but I just thought I'd point this out. This can't be right.
So what do you guys think? I just thought it was I think it's a glitch, because there's no way eBay has designed it that way for a buyer to search for items. I think the most important aspect of a listing is your photo, and you're doing everything right, but yet eBay is not presenting it properly for the buyers to see. So that's kind of concerning to me. So 10 minutes in, and that's my diatribe, which is about right on cue. We have Mike Camparelli says, "Hi, John and Jenna. Hope you're feeling better and are joining us today. You were missed Friday. Hi, all in the chat."
Thank you, Mike. Yes, I'm feeling better than I was Friday.
Yeah, and just as a side note, we are in real time. We're dealing with things in life just like you're dealing with things in life. So we're going through some things and handling things behind the scenes. It has nothing to do with the channel or the business, but it certainly certainly is a challenge right now for us. So keep us in your prayers and everything. PTS Treasure says hi everyone, and then we have Callie Deb says hi John and Jenna. Thanks for being here. And then Flippin' Con Marco says, hey, John and Jenna and the rest of the FAE fam. Sorry I had been MIA for the past lives. Too much drama going on. We can relate. Can't stay for long. Just wanted to hang out for a bit. Hope everyone has been doing great or going great. Aside from the bad sales, and you know what? It's one of those things where you just can't focus on the bad sales. You can start to wonder what's going on. I'm sure that's natural, but if you start panicking and flailing around, calling eBay, making drastic changes over just a few bad days, because I can tell you today when I woke up, I had more sales when I woke up this morning than I did on Sunday or Friday or Saturday. Choose which day. So it's we still have a good portion of today left. People coming home from work, settling in, maybe buying stuff. So I'm thinking that today is a pretty good day. But you just have to roll with the punches and keep yourself motivated. When I have slow days, it's one of those things. Well, I guess I got to get out there and get more stuff up, right? Maybe the stuff I have isn't what these people want to buy. So maybe the stuff I have in the garage. Many times I get out there and I list something and it sells. I think I sold 2 items just yesterday that I had listed maybe hours beforehand. So sales are there, guys. Q4 is coming, and while I don't necessarily think we're going to have record-breaking Q4 numbers this year, I do think that there's still buyers and there's still sales to be had on this platform. Let's see. We got Jackie Bleckner is in the house, and we have Sylvia Hunt. Thanks for being here. And as I mentioned, Josh Galt. So let's get this party started. Yes. Hugs to Jenna. And then we have Jacqueline says, hi, I'm new to the channel, but I've been binge watching all the lives in videos. I've learned so much. Also, the comments help a lot as well. Yes, so thank you for being here, Jacqueline. We have Truman, says hello all. And Jovial, just watching Josh Galt's video. So like I said, very informative stuff. He seems like he has some inside contacts of some sort. But it's cool that he's able to pick the brain of some of these people. While I'm sure they won't divulge all the trade secrets of eBay, it does kind of point us in the right direction and confirm, I think, what a lot of us were already wondering, and that is some of these things like sell-through rate, listing quality, and all that stuff. Joe Samard says, good afternoon, all. Thanks for being here, Joe. Ping G says, hello, John and Jenna in the chat. Thank you for being here, Ping. Henri Squaw says, I sure have a lot of item specifics magically disappearing. I haven't seen that. Of course, I'm not looking at that. But the fact that you mentioned item specifics kind of turns me to another thought that Josh was talking on his video about how the whole routine of end item sell similar is not going to be a thing that works because you're not changing key aspects of the listing, like item specifics or photos within the listing. Then and I think he said something about the size of the photo more than anything else, then it's going to be looked at as just the same old listing. So I'm going to be doing a little bit of testing on that because I want to see if the eBay still gives that new listing the new listing tag that it normally gives it. I mean, I wouldn't think that eBay would treat it as an old listing, yet is calling it a new listing, if that makes sense. The photos, is it the name of the photo, or maybe it's just a matter of you right-clicking on your existing photo, saving it to your hard drive, renaming it, boom, uploading it, or because they're talking about photo size, whenever you crop the photo, it reduces the size of your image. So maybe you just take your existing image when you're doing a sell similar and you go in and you reduce the size by a very small margin, but it changes the file size by a little bit. So those are actual ideas you can use to kind of get around that. And of course, changing your item specifics or adding more item specifics in. Guys, there's so many times I'll look at a listing and I'm looking at the requested. Now you got to have all the required item specifics in there. But if you're looking at the requested and you see something that says trending, and I don't know if they actually put the numbers anymore, like how many search results each item specific or how many times it was filtered for that particular category, but it says trending. And so for those, I think that's your hint that you really want to get some value in your item specifics for that item on those that say trending. And that's kind of what I've been doing as well, as trying to maybe when I'm doing sell similar, get that done. Now, this last time I did sell similar on Thursday, I just did the generical whatever because eBay had created a return policy for me and assigned like, you guys saw the post I put out. It was assigning like 120 some odd listings to one policy and a minus 139 listings, if that's even possible, which it's not, for another shipping policy. And I'm like, well, where are the rest of the listings? They don't have a shipping policy. So I went in and did a total revamp end item sell similar on that. So, you know, those are just some things you could try. Again, it's this game we play with eBay whenever they're dealing with their thing. It's not stable. So we're in a position where we have to try new things, and hopefully we're throwing like, something at the wall and we hope it sticks, right? And that's kind of what I'm doing here. Jennifer says, hello from Central Virginia. Thanks for being here, Jennifer. And then Guide Guru says, my sales started to change directions this weekend, but I'm currently laying on a big goose egg today. Yeah, it happens, like that one time in July. I mean, we were gone, but I had everything set up. I had a big fat zero on Friday and $1,000 day on Saturday. No rhyme or reason for it. Chastity Grant says, hi all. Thanks for being here. And Devon says, hello, I was just listening to Josh. Awesome. And then Tony says, hi, everyone. Thanks for being here. Let's see. And then Like Squad, hit those likes. So, yes, we have this thing. And I'm sure many of you guys know, if you hit the like button within 24 hours, you're going to get a sale. It's going to, it's part of the eBay magical innovations, I guess, where you magically get a sale that'll pop up. It works for most, so I'm just going to keep reporting such. Let's see. Dixie Flipper says, hi, John and Jenna. A pretty good weekend of sales, but although low dollar items, I've been working all day on higher sales, though, higher price items today. And then Guide Guru says, yep, and it makes sense too. They need to roll back Cassini to what it was. I'd like to think that, that would be the easy answer, but, that's why someone like Josh or other people just can't get a meeting with the CEO. I'm sure of it because they have a vision. And that vision isn't necessarily what resellers' vision is for the platform. It is their vision, and it's not going to be changed by anyone.
It's just too bad that they're so stuck in their own way that they don't listen to the sellers.
Yeah. And
they aren't. I mean, we have good ideas. We have all the experience. They don't.
I tend to think that a big part of the reason why they don't listen to sellers is because they're short-sighted in that their goal is to make as much money for the shareholders as possible. Bottom line, if they show losses on a quarterly basis to their shareholders, someone's coming for heads, okay? And if they had, and a lot of what the resellers are saying, and myself, I believe Josh is saying, would require eBay to take a step back before they could take a step forward in that fixing the problems on the site, delivering upon promises on the site, making sure that the basics work properly before, delivering these magical innovations that they want to talk about. And then, only then, once they fix the problems that we're dealing with, can they gain more buyers, gain more sellers. More transactions on the site means more money for the shareholders, but that's not a quick fix. That's going to take some time before they see that trend change. And I don't think any of them are willing to, do those things. And unfortunately, I think eBay just looks at us sellers as expendable. And what one seller feels today, there'll be another seller tomorrow that'll be oblivious to it all and be willing to do all the things that we learned not to do. So Dixie Flipper says, I just read that one, says Art Betts holds in the house. Thanks for being here. We have Ping says, yes, I learned a lot from Josh's live today. Very informative stuff. Savage Pickers has been having problems. Gave a refund on September 1st, and it isn't closed yet. Had an item not received request, and I uploaded the delivery tracking, and that hasn't closed yet. Called, still waiting. Yeah, you're going to find it's going to be 10 solid business days since you closed it. So if we're talking the first, it's not 10 actual days, including the weekend. So you have, right now we're on the 6th day. So we're talking Friday the 15th. And after the 15th, it'll close, because eBay wants to give the buyer 10 business days. I don't know why they need so much time, but 10 business days to confirm that they're okay with the refund that they receive. Henri Squaw says, I'm going to focus most of my time from now on getting my items somewhere else. That's not a bad idea. I mean, my thought is don't leave the platform, because the traffic's still here. Got a lot of people leaving the site to just run over to Mercari or Poshmark and do that exclusively. And my thought is ride the storm. You know, I know a lot of the experience sucks right now, but this is where most of my money comes from when it comes to reselling. We're talking eBay. The other sites are just additional income. That's nice, but I'm not going to run to these other sites when eBay is still proving to be the better of the main three that we deal with. Guide Guru says, this has all definitely changed how I source. If it doesn't have a great sell-through, I put it back. Unfortunately, those kinds of items are getting harder to find. So, right. So when you're looking at an item, when you're coming across an item, maybe you don't even know what it is, and you do a Google Lens, or you find out what it is, and then you go into eBay, and then you go in to see look at the solds. Well, looking to see that it sold one time in the last 90 days shouldn't be the answer you're looking for. You want to see multiple solds. Anyone can sell something in a 90-day period. But, if you're just dealing with items that may have sold once or maybe twice in the last 90 days, there's a good chance you're going to list that item and it's going to sit for a while. Tommy Bernard says, who do you think that eBay doesn't want to be a picture hosting company but a sale? Who'da think? Yes.
Who'da thunk?
Yeah. But,
who'da thunk that eBay doesn't want to be a picture hosting company but a sales platform?
You know what? Roman stole my Rosetta Stone program, so I would be better right now, but he took it. So I've got to get it back from him when we go to Cincinnati. But yeah, eBay isn't a photo hosting website, but you would at least think that they would display our main gallery photo so that the buyers clearly can see them. I can imagine if you're someone that has problems seeing anyway in the first place, you're not going to really get a good idea of what you're trying to buy if those are the photos that eBay is showing. Savage Picker says, eBay says the buyer has to close the request. What? Yes, they do. They have to say that they're okay with the adjustment you made on the refund. If you're not giving them 100% of the money that they spent on that item back in the refund, even if you're still retaining the original shipping, they're going to get the okay from the buyer. And I think all that does is rile them up anyway. But Josh says, a thought, if we all scramble into the high sell-through rate items, do the price of these items then race to the bottom in price as well? Will create a lack of item diversity in the platform. And then I think splitting into two stores is a genius idea. Yeah, to address that, I think getting those bad sell-through items, those dog items, get them away from your good stuff. It's sort of like you have an everything brick and mortar store, right? And then all of a sudden people just thought, I ain't going to that, big lots type of store anymore. I'm going into specialty stores now, and stores that focus more on what I'm looking for. Well, then take the crap out of your big lot store, move it over to some corner shop, okay? And then refocus your main store on just higher ASP stuff. And even if that means you're really scaling down that main store to a fraction of the number of items you have in your store, it's a scary thought. You put a lot of work into building a big store. And for many years, YouTubers like myself, well, I wasn't saying it, I guess YouTubers similar to me were telling you to list as many items as you can a day, list, build, get as big of a store as you can. And a lot of people went with it, and it worked. Scaling became a math game. You were playing the numbers. If I sell one out of every 100, then I'm going to sell, if I do 10,000 items, I'll have 100 sales in a day, in theory, even though for many it didn't work that way because they kind of cheated and went with smaller ASP items, quick listing like CDs and things like that to get their numbers up, and they weren't focusing on the value they were putting in their store. And that's kind of what I've been talking about for quite some time. Value. It's about value. It's not about how many items you get in your store. I'm making good sales and listing 5 to 10 items a day. I'm talking big size items. It's about the value you're getting in your store. So to address what Josh says, if we all scramble into high sell-through rate items, do the price of those items then race to the bottom as well? Thankfully, we're dealing with millions of different items. Now, of course, if we're taking half of those items and saying we ain't sourcing those anymore, I would think that the folks that are still selling those items will do fairly well with those items, and the sell-through rate would maybe go down, like you're saying, for some of the higher end items. But these items are higher end for a reason. If we all bought iPhones, would you notice with the iPhone seller that's been selling those phones, would they notice a decrease in sales? And I'm sure they would. It's a math game. But how many people are realistically going to take that drastic step, that uncomfortable step, to sell things they're not familiar with, larger than they want to deal with, instead of the smaller, more comfortable items? I think there's a lot of people. I don't think that you're ever going to see that situation happen or come into play where everyone just switches over. Maybe a lot of people, but not everyone. Henri Squaw says, I have over 5,000 items listed. It's hard, almost impossible as a single person to touch everyone every month and still add new items. Yeah, I can't imagine having that many items. There's other stores that have, so many more than that. You're dealing with maybe a tenth of some of these other stores, and I can't even imagine dealing with what you're dealing with. Guy Guru says, I have noticed that it seems the stuff getting watchers these days are my higher ticket items. All my low and mid-range stuff collects dust. Yeah, and it's holding your store back as far as I'm concerned. If you're looking at your traffic reports and eBay saying your sell-through or your sales conversion rate for your store is like 1%, and then you look at your store and half of it's full of stuff that rarely sells, well, what happens if you get that away from your higher performing stuff? Now there's less stuff holding your that number back. You're going to increase that conversion rate number. And I think just like a lot of other sites, eBay is a numbers driven engine, and the Cassini is a numbers driven engine. And if you're performing to the level that they want you to perform with your numbers, your sales conversion rate, it will make a difference in where you're placed in search. Remember, eBay is not going to give you sales. They don't have agents in the field that are looking to buy items. They just point your listings to the buyer, whether it's through search, unfortunately, other people's listings, which sucks, or at the end of a sale, here's the same item 20 times just to get the buyer to cancel and to buy your item. Tommy Bernard Podcast says, of course it does. Prices are very competitive in high performing categories. Be like Tech and Sports and his disciples selling items for $3 today. They made sales. Yeah, I agree with that. Linda McBride says, my sale, we're down this week. We're down 30%. So that's a big drop. I had the same this weekend, but you know what? We're going to keep focusing. We're going to keep our heads up, and we're going to just be more determined. We have to focus on the things we can control. And I know it sounds ridiculous. Okay, get determined, get out there and get stuff listed. But what else can you do? I think calling eBay and asking them, why am I not making sales? I think that's the wrong answer. I think worrying about it, losing sleep over it is not going to help you one bit. You just got to work a little. That's what I do. Work a little harder and get more stuff up so these buyers can buy your item. Tommy thinks it's saving bandwidth on those photos, but it's not creating a very good buyer experience, I don't think. Duncan VR says, and real quick, and they're saving bandwidth, yet they've pretty much told us, they went from 12 to 24 photos in a listing. What does that say? By fact that they're giving us that option, tells us they pretty much prefer us to get more photos in our listings, but they're not providing us enough bandwidth to do that. Doesn't make sense to me. Duncan says, I've been putting up prices lately and it seems to help them sell faster. Maybe with ephemera, it gets deemed as more valuable with the higher pricing. It might. I think sometimes if you underprice your items, people will start wondering, well, wait, everyone else is wanting $40 for this. You're only wanting 15? What's wrong with this? Why is it so cheap? People get suspicious and maybe they don't pull the trigger on your listing. Autographed with Proof says, hello, John and Jenna. What are your thoughts on eBay sellers with promoted listings that promote all items? The lower items are not getting clicks, but a lot of impressions. What do you feel that is? Well, I can tell you I'm guilty of a lot of that. The lower items are not getting clicks, but impressions. So let's say it's sort of like what Josh was talking about earlier. Let's say they type in something somewhat related to that item, but it's not really that item, but yet your item comes up somewhere in that search, but it's not what they're looking for. So they get the impression when they scroll past it in search, but it's like, I didn't ask for a white pair of, Vans. I'm looking for a white pair of Jordans. Okay. And so they're going to scroll past it. They have no interest in that. That doesn't meet what they came here to buy. And that's what eBay's putting a lot of items into searches that are not what buyers are looking for. Rad Relic says, Merry Christmas. I hope this isn't what Christmas is going to be looking like, but Merry Christmas back. Autograph with Proof says, could impact the click-through rate, therefore showing lower search rankings due to the overall click-through rate. But yeah, I kind of think my idea of, and it's what Josh was talking about as well, was that the search is somewhat broken and is not, and it's, if they're driving it with AI, I think that's part of the problem because AI is still not, I think, where it should be. Jeff says, hi, John and Jenna, folks, endure, create, enjoy. Yes. Rad Relic says, what they don't want to buy today is what they can't get enough of next week. Hard to say. You get stuff, you put it up, you think it's going to sell, it doesn't sell, and then you wait a week and, it sells like hotcakes. These football cases are gone now, but I was a firm believer that, they'd be gone by this last Thursday, which is the first game of the year. For about a week and a half, I didn't get a single sale on a case, and then boom, this weekend they all sold. So it is what it is. Autograph with Proof says, bringing down your entire store performance. My click-through rate was less than 0.1%. Then I unpromoted any items performing below that rate, and my overall rate raised to 2.2% in one day. Yeah, there's the idea of, getting rid of your promoted listings. And I mean, unless you have good prices and people are finding your items through the price plus shipping, the lowest price, I don't see how that could be something that would work for you. Now, if you have good low prices, that's a strategy that can work because your percentage is going to increase because you're not appearing in as many searches anymore for your item to be ignored in the first place. But if the buyer is only finding your items through lowest price search and you have a competitive low price, then you're going to be not only seen by the buyer, but chances are that's the reason why they're looking using that search method anyway, is to find the lowest price. There's a chance you're going to move the item, thus bringing up your sell-through rate. So I think that is probably what's happening there. Wicked Gig Flip says, good day, y'all. Thanks for being here. Biff Boffo says, average sell price doesn't matter. eBay makes money from the general merchandise value. Most buyers aren't even looking for a high ASP item. If someone is looking for a $10 book, eBay isn't going to show them what they want, ? Problem is, I think that someone did I think it was Daily Refinement. Someone did maybe a poll or a search, or maybe found this information somewhere. I don't know how relevant it is today, but this is a while back, that the average sale price of an item on eBay is like $10 or less than $10. So that tells me that the market is totally saturated with underpriced items because these are easier items to find. People go to a yard sale, buy an item for $1, it sells for $10 on eBay. People pick it up.
Well, that's also too, all these people that are spouting out saying, oh, list 100, 200 items a day.
Mm-hmm.
Well, lower ASP items are easy to list typically.
Right.
So
your average seller isn't going to have the merchandise that they can flip for high dollar because they're not buying high dollar merchandise. So you're going to find, you're going to be able to sell that $10 book on eBay, but you're going to find that there's a good chance you're going to have more competition for that $10 item than if you have a $50, $60 item that has less competition. That's just my thought on that, but I think there's a lot of truth to when I do a lot of store reviews, people ask me to look at the stores. I see that the majority of the items are under $10. We're talking $10 plus shipping, that type of thing. Backyard Mowing says, I remember Tommy talking about sell-through rate and now being weighted heavier in search. Yes, I definitely see that. Sylvia says, I saw some tears that Jenna hold back just to know you're not alone. You can call me anytime.
Thank you, Sylvia.
Yeah, it just, it's not earth-shaking bad stuff, but we're not going to. But I just don't want you guys to worry. It's just stuff we're dealing with
it's
right
just
before.
Life-changing events, that's all.
Just stuff that, we had to deal with it, say, 2-3 hours ago, it probably would be a little bit different, but like right before the show. Anyways, Dan says, had 2 items removed from fine jewelry because cubic zirconia listed as main stone. Rules say you cannot put artificial stones as main, but it's fine. Drop down choices, 352,000 listings with CZ listed.
Wow.
Yeah, but it looks like a real diamond. I think that's was FedEx. FedEx, okay, so that's USPS. Big Dre says, I've been seeing a lot more YouTube resellers cross-listing. I can say for sure it's helping my sales. I may begin cross-listing on Depop and Grail next. So kind of unintentionally, what eBay is kind of doing with what they've been doing the last year is pushing more of their sellers and growing other platforms. At what point does it end? I think it's a good thing to do. So all your eggs aren't in one basket. If you wake up one morning and have a suspension because, maybe you are on your second counterfeit claim or Vero claim, at least your items are up for sale somewhere. So I think it's a good thing to do. MJ says, hello, J&J. I increased my ad rate to 9.5% from 7.5%. My sales went down. Yeah, because there's other factors. See, promoted listing isn't the end-all be-all of why you're not making sales. There's other things that are involved, such as your sell-through rate, your listing quality, the type of item it is. You can push it up as high as you want in search, but if your buyers aren't interested, it doesn't really matter. Riddle's Closet says, hi, everyone. Sending prayers of strength for your way, John and Jenna. Well, thank you. We appreciate that. Biff says, I'm sure eBay views or will view the photo as a fingerprint, not by metadata. Cropping and title changing won't fool AI for long, if it even does now. So, I'm just trying to find any way to make, to continue the success that we've had. I'm not going to write off this last weekend as the new norm. It's going to take a few weekends like that for me to think that's what's going on. But I'm going to continue my process. I might add a little bit to my process. And if that means that I'm going to continually look for ways to make it work, I'm going to do that. And I suggest you guys play the game as well. And that's my advice to you. Guide Guru says the thing about cross-listing on the other platforms is that those other platforms haven't really increased their buyers that I can see, not yet anyway. Mm-hmm. True. And, it's going to, like an item that may have had 10 competitors on Mercari is now going to have 15, 20, 30 competitors for the same item. And I think it's going to slow down sales for someone who's been selling on Mercari for some time. Ping G says, for the past few days, when I do sell similar, I'm using the bulk edit to drop my prices by 10%. Wonder if eBay will consider that a brand new listing. Well, I'm going to find out. I'm going to do some looking at that this week when I do my normal batch. I usually do it on Thursdays. And I go in and check, see where my items appear in search, see if they do it all. But when they appear in search, it'll have that little gray label, new listing, right next to the title. And that'll tell you all you need to know about that. Let's see. Riddle's Closet says, I did a stupid and mixed up label, sent $300 item to someone and they won't respond. Anyone ever done this before?
Ouch.
Not like that. No. Wow.
We've done it, but not like that.
Yeah, we've had a mix up before. I mean, it happens. Mistakes happen, but they won't respond, huh? That's horrible.
That's terrible.
Josh Galt says, we are the heartbeat of the platform.
We are.
We are. Without sellers, you have no one. I mean, I guess you can argue without buyers. I mean, sellers leave anyway, but eBay is not going to put up listings anytime soon. So we're certainly part of the equation or the ecology of eBay. And, if you ignore us and, don't take our input, don't try to keep the site working as we have been used to it for many years, then it's going to push people away. And I really think that's kind of, in my mind, I think that's what eBay kind of wants, is to get the non-serious sellers off the platform anyway. But that's a conspiracy theory that I have with eBay. Sandra says, "Oops, okay, you're talking to Riddles." Rural Squirrel says, "Hey team, hey,
Kristen.
Thanks for being here." And Rad Relics says 99% of resellers will not make it if they aren't selling on eBay. I agree. I mean, there's just not enough skin on the bone to say I'm going to take my entire operation to Mercari or Poshmark. It's almost like saying I'm just going to sell exclusively on Bonanza. By the way, I haven't checked Bonanza in a while. I'll do that while we're chatting here. So yeah, I agree. You just got to focus on your bread and butter, and eBay is our bread and butter. I don't see that changing anytime soon. It may take a long, long time for eBay to fall off of that title for being our bread and butter. So I don't have anything but an error on Bonanza here. It says there was an error. No. So yeah, we're good. I wasn't expecting any sales on Bonanza anyway. Let's see. Roman says, I realized today that if I complain about eBay sales, it'll make me sleep better at night. Hello, everyone. I think, it's like this. I came out with the video and over the weekend talking about how it's our fault, YouTubers. And I think a lot of people really feel that way. After reading a lot of the comments, it's like, wow, I didn't want to poo-poo what the guy had to say, G-Mover, who made the initial comment that got me to make the video. If you haven't watched it, check it out, because I think it's a pretty compelling argument to be made that YouTubers have impacted. I don't know if they've ruined things for sellers, but they certainly have put their fingerprint on the reselling world. I wonder how things would be with reselling if none of these channels existed on YouTube. Rad Relic says Amazon is probably the only other site that can support full-time reselling for most resellers. The problem with Amazon that I have is that it is so hard to get decent brands approved or gated or ungated for selling, and you really have to jump through these crazy hoops with invoices, and even then they don't approve when you actually have a legitimate invoice. It's like you're kind of being brought along in small steps as a seller, and so many items I was able to come across in my pallets I just couldn't get listed, so I just kind of forgot about it. Anytime Picker says, I realized today that if I complain, I skip that one. Sorry about that. Big Dre says, hoo just got my $300 Mercari payment, my second sale. Awesome. That's awesome. And another thing about these sites, eBay, you kind of got it good. I mean, think about it. The buyer doesn't even have their item yet. In many cases, you're getting your money before they even get their item. But with Mercari and Poshmark, you ship that item out and it may be a week before that buyer gets it. They have 3 days to approve. And once they sign off that everything's good, then you finally get paid. So eBay isn't all that bad. There are some really good things about eBay. I just think sometimes we tend to overlook those good things and really focus on the bad, unfortunately. Tommy says, Roman listed your Rosetta Stone for sale for $9,000 free shipping. Roman says, John, I realized that when Josh has his lives in the afternoon, eBay actually watches those. But when you and Jenna have your lives, eBay watches ASMR videos. I got to tell you, I'm definitely on eBay's S-list. I don't think that if they do have someone watching my videos, it's probably someone they don't like, and they'll just say, "Go watch this video." We don't really care what they have to say. I'm really convinced of that. eBay has never reached out to me for anything, and I know of channels that are similar size that or smaller that seem to get in contact with eBay and like it's no problem. Mike Gertis says, hello, I'm down 20% sales end of August from my 2022-2023 numbers, mainly because of June, July horrid sales. Guess I'm about to find out if my fourth quarter sales are going to keep me doing this full time. Yeah, that's the thing. I mean, at what point do you just throw in the towel and say, you know what, I can't sustain this. I can't continue to try to make something happen, and it's not. That's why I'm a firm believer, before you give up, got to try something else. You got to see if maybe, okay, put this crap in another store and let's put good stuff in our main store and let's see what happens. Rad Relic says, I just don't think people are really shopping single stores. I wonder what the repeat customer rate is for people who aren't selling to their YouTube audience. You guys, many of you know, I don't get a lot of repeat customers. I even had a 6-month experiment where I was putting stickers with a code, a private coupon, to see if I could get repeat business, and it didn't work. Sandra has at least half of her sales are repeat buyers, and I'm willing to bet you probably sell in a niche where that works. Soda City Flip says, most important question you'll see tonight, where's Biscuit Butt? He's been MIA for a while now. That is a very good question.
He's here.
Is he here?
He's
I
here.
tried to call him.
He's late to the party.
I tried to call him before the show, but he didn't call me back. So it is what it is. But yeah, I was kind of getting worried. Big Dre says, I've been trying to reach 1,000 listings, but I can't seem to source fast enough or list fast enough. But
why? Why do you need to reach 1,000? What is your ASP?
It should be, how much money am I making today?
How much money did I just list today?
Well, how much money did I list today? That's what you can control. The side effect is, as a result of listing $500 today worth of merchandise, did I sell $200-$300 worth? It's that. It's scoreboard. That's the score we should be keeping, is how much money is being deposited in your account every week or every day or whatever you have your payment set up to be. That's your scoreboard. So don't allow other people in their big stores to make you feel inadequate. If it makes you feel any better, my main store has under 200 items, and our secondary clearance store has under 6. So,
and I'm happy with that.
I mean,
as long as things are selling, and the Reliant store obviously is our main store, and so what we get on my store is just secondary. We're just trying to get rid of that stuff, even if it's just, if it is only $10, $20 items. But the value that you have in your store is going to far more exceed than the number of listings you have. It's just,
I mean, you don't get a special sticker from eBay saying that, congratulations, you got 1,000 items in your store, right? You don't get anything like that. eBay doesn't care, really.
I mean, John made a comment today. So this morning we were going over some things in Hot Desert Deals. And when we first moved everything over to that store, it was almost 700 listings in that store. Right now, we're sitting at 515, and John goes, "Oh God, we're way under 600." And I said, "Good. I don't want to manage that many listings, because not only am I managing them on the eBay account, but they're also on Poshmark and Mercari. So because I don't have a cross lister that will take them down off of Posh or Mercari, it's too much, and it can get to be too much. I'm okay with having a smaller store and getting rid of all the crap that is in there. Yeah. I'm fine with that. Now, if the other account, the main account, gets low, that's when we start to push it into high gear.
Yeah. And looking at my report for this year, having around 200 listings on my main account. This is just my main account, not talking about the one she was just talking about. We're at 91,000. We're going to be at the end of September, we're going to be at the $100,000 mark. And that represents, as compared to last year, to show you how bad that I did with just having everything in one store. And that's everything in one store. That's like 700 listings we had. 57.7% up in sales. So it tells me at this time last year, I was probably sitting around 40,000 in sales on the main store. That's how bad we did last year. And that's the impact. You'd think by removing, going from 700 listings to 200, and I think it was 250 when we started this back in February, you'd think the numbers game would say, well, you may make a little bit more from the bigger items you're selling, but the volume you're moving, and we're not talking about big volume, but decreasing my store by 60% is probably not going to get you more money, but that's exactly what it did. We went from $4,000, $5,000 sales months where I was driving Uber to make money on the side while I was waiting for buyers to buy. And that's not even a thought anymore. We're dealing with smaller numbers. So it's an addition by subtraction. Now, why is that? Why is it that someone can go from 700 listings to 250 and increase their sales? I think it has everything to do with what we're talking about at the beginning of the show. Get rid of the crap. Now, no one's saying throw it away. No one's saying donate it, but put it in its own clearance store and, treat it accordingly. It's not worth your time. More than that, I don't think. Let's see. Guy Guru says it's a snowball effect because since they've changed all this, now your store conversion just gets lower. Having a big store just doesn't seem to work anymore. It doesn't. I mean,
not for us.
Look at the amount of room that you are going to have to deal with to maintain anything, unless you're dealing with stamps or baseball cards or CDs, DVDs, that kind of thing. I guess you could make your garage and maybe one other room work, right? But for us, we're using that same amount of space and we're going to make the most of it. I guess it's maximizing that. We
have maximized.
Yeah, and it's one of those things where if I had a warehouse, which I don't recommend you go out and do, it just more money and more expenditures or more overhead you're going to have to deal with. But if we had a warehouse, there's many times I would think I'm sourcing and I'm like, if I had more room, I'd probably pick this up. But, I already have 2 or 3 of these. So I'm just going to pass for now. And then once those sell, I'm going to circle back. Rad Relic says it's very similar to the YouTube algorithm. If your items are getting views and are popular, you're going to get more views on your other items. That's right. That's right. It's almost like on YouTube, there's been many times I put out a video. Oh, it's actually the opposite. I think, this is a decent video. It doesn't get any views because it wasn't a good video. People didn't see it as a good video. And of course, you don't get good view numbers on it. So it's all of the same type of thing when it comes to search engine optimization. Let's see. Critter Holland says, I have starter store with 150 items. When should I consider going to the next level? When you start, you already have a store. You want to start looking at how close are you to needing to get more listings, more free listings. That should be what drives you to go to the next level store. If you're like me, I went way up. I have 200 items in my store, and I can end items sell similar 5 times a day and not have to worry about, running out of listings. That may be an overkill on my end because I wasn't planning on shrinking my store at the time. But I got to tell you, you don't want to be spending money on insertions. So let that drive your need to go to the next level. It's well worth the money. Let's Do Lunch Podcast says, hey, flipping ain't easy. Here to support and hit the like. Also sending a big high five to our girl, Jenna.
Aw, thank you.
Hustle and Grow says, hi, John and Jenna. What's going on, Ed? What's crazy? I ran a sale this week, and I usually end the weekend with about 20 to 30 sales and 50 watchers. 12 sales and 10 watchers for no good reason either. Mm-hmm. And you would have thought that's kind of what would have happened last weekend with the holiday, right?
And I missed you, Ed. I really wanted to be here, but Lord knows I just really couldn't.
Yeah. Wrestling Figs says, sup crap weekend, 9 sales, smoking this when heading post office. Yeah, well, I think it's not an anomaly. It's not you. I think it's just whatever it is. Maybe eBay had issues. Maybe a lot of issues were on the buyer's side from what some of these other bigger sellers like Tommy, how their weekend went with sales, because I happen to just suspect that there might have been a problem on eBay's end this weekend. Not trying to be the one to blame it on eBay, but eBay does play a role in some of these weird days or weird weekends. Guy Guru says AI is way overhyped. The only thing that impresses me are some of these AI image generators. But even then, unless they fix it since the last time I used it earlier this year, you tell it to like make an image of someone at a party, right? And you look at it, they have like 6 fingers. It's like, it's kind of cool, looks kind of real until you start looking at the details, and AI still doesn't have it right. Big Dre says, sourcing shoes with comps that are usually $50 to $200, but I can pay between $3 and $15 a pair.
That's excellent.
That's really good. That's where you want to be. I mean, I'm not a big shoe buyer, but I will buy work boots and things like that, as long as 100% is what can I buy it for, and what are the comps consistently showing me that they're going to sell for. J-Ride Flips.
Jake is here.
Hey, Ping
Hi,
G.
Jake.
Thanks for being here. And Fernando Lemus says, eBay keeps inviting sellers for the ads webinar to switch to advanced promotions. Yeah, they want to convince you, just like they put a little blurb in when you're listing an item. They want to convince you to give them more money. Now, it's sort of like this. They're willing to give you a free hit of that drug, right? In hopes that it'll hook you into doing it. Oh, I got great sales, right? So, it didn't cost me anything, but now it does. And you're going to keep doing it because that got you some good sales. But I would say, in my opinion, unless you're dealing with either a multi-quantity item or a very high-end item, I wouldn't be playing with the advanced promoted listings. That's just me, though. Radrelax says, these other sites should make their websites tuned for cross-posting. It would make it so much easier. I mean, aside from the lack of traffic that Bonanza puts into play, I mean, I do commend them for being able to seamlessly interfacing with eBay. And if there's a sale on either platform, it's removed. So you don't have to worry about selling it twice. Let's see. Kate says buyers are bored with eBay. So that might be a reason. I mean, I'm not very excited when I see eBay commercials. They show someone rear-ending another car and, here's where you buy your bumper on eBay. But most people aren't in the market to buy a bumper. Variety Flipper says, bam, I made it. Hello, everyone. Thanks for being here. Tommy Z says, without sellers, there is no platform. No, there isn't. Let's see. Like on Amazon, if every seller left, Amazon would still be there to sell the stuff that they have. They've ripped off IPs and put their own label on it, that type of thing. They have a lot of stuff that's under Amazon Basics. eBay has nothing like that. Big Dre says, Bonanza is the only one that I haven't made a sale on yet, even at 30% ad revenue. I did 9% because I wanted to play their game. And you know what? Not only did I sell the item, I sold it for more than what I was, getting on eBay, because they didn't give the buyer the FedEx discount that I have eBay giving my buyer. And it made me another, $50. So keep the sales going on Bonanza if they're there. Biscuit Butt's late to the party. Guy Guru says, everyone is feeling the pinch, and weak-minded folks will point fingers. The channels exist because viewers want it. The channels didn't create this demand per se. Yes and no. The channels can create demand in that, look at this new Monopoly game that came out, like the Bearded Picker had that video. It can create demand for people going, I can do that too. That type of thing. But for me, it got me to thinking, I'm seeing all these YouTubers that are making videos and talking about how successful they were back in 2019, when I had to make a decision. Am I going back into the corporate world with another company, or am I going to try to make reselling from part-time to full-time work? And it's the influence that's seeing a lot of these channels. they weren't telling you a lot of the things they were dealing with on the negative side. It was all good. So I made the leap, and we had some growing pains for a while. I'm glad I did. I wish I would have done it sooner from my own perspective, but my situation's never going to be the same as someone else out there that's looking to do the same, make the same change. Disgruntled Octopus says, morning all, heading back to the start to watch from the beginning. So thank you for doing that. Jovial says, Picky Ricky has been MIA as well. I don't know if it's the boot sales he's been going to early in the morning or what, but hopefully he's okay.
I hope he's okay. We're praying for you.
Kelly says, new subscriber here. I sell mostly under $20 items, but I have volume. About 90% are new buyers, 10% repeat. People are buying. You just got to try new things if they aren't working. So I think that new sell, and by the way, thank you for subscribing, Kelly. I think that new buyers tend to go with the type of item that isn't as, it's a lot easier to deal with, a lot easier to handle, a lot easier to pick up, and isn't overwhelming. If you're a new seller, I couldn't imagine how you would continue selling if you just picked up large items and started listing it. I think that would be, it's just the shipping alone would be really kind of a pain because you don't know a whole lot. So it's good to start off with the smaller items. You're making it work for yourself. Just know though, that's where a lot of people are, on the smaller items under $20. And if you can find ways to learn what you're selling and then maybe gravitate to a niche if you can, but if you can't, start picking up the stuff that's going to get you more ASP. Mad Hatter's Boutique. Hey, John and Jenna, prayers coming your way. Sales are steady in my world. NFL is back and selling merch daily. Yes. NBA and NHL around the corner too. Looking forward to fall sales. Yeah, I'm out of football cases. So, I think that contributed to be like 10 to 20% of my sales during the summer. So just curious what my number is going to look like in about a month or two because I don't have any more of those. Devon says, I list less and list more valuable items. Yeah. Less items to ship. Yeah, a little longer to stage, clean, get them all ready for photos and put them away and store them and all that. Larger boxes that you have to carry. But at the end of the day, I think I'd rather have my results here than have a $50,000 a year smaller, easier things. Getting uncomfortable. Where? Here?
Right there.
Okay. Matt Jackson says, I got a sticker from eBay when I hit 1,000K items. Did you?
Right under it.
Just, JK. I guess that's just a lot of work, I think, and you're not getting a lot of return. I think some of these larger stores, they're doing like selling one item a day for every 400 to 500, maybe even less than that. And the juice isn't worth the squeeze, I think, at a certain point. Righty Flipper, if your team is losing, then those sales won't be very high. No, good thing my Raiders won, but it is what it is. Biff Boffalo says, repeat buyers and multi-quantity purchases are the strength of niche sellers. I get relatively high dollar orders from someone buying 10 to 12 low ASP items in one shot.
Right. But
this kind of underscores my argument in that if you are doing what you want, if your sales are great, if you're happy with where you're at, continue doing what you're doing, even if that's selling smaller ASP items, even if that is having a 20, 30,000 item store. But if you find yourself falling off, the smaller things just aren't selling the way you're used to them selling, maybe it's time to consider making some changes. And I can only tell you and share with you what changes we made, but for the most part, it's selling higher ASP, larger items. That's working for us. Tommy says, you get a participation award for focusing on listing versus selling. eBay has never sent a payout for listings ever. No.
True.
Not a button, not a cookie, not anything. You don't get anything for having a lot of listings. Shirley O'Dunes says, I hope I got that right, by the way. Hi, John and Jenna. I had a buyer that didn't send back all the parts to the item that I sent him or her. eBay gave them a full refund, even though I offered them a partial refund. What else can I do? So that's the problem, because eBay off the bat shouldn't be giving your buyer any kind of refund unless you didn't act in time, because eBay gives you so many days to process that return. So once it gets to you, you inspect the item, check it out, make sure everything's there, take photos if you need to, if the item's damaged, something's wrong, and then go in, you process the refund buyer. You can't keep all the money when they don't return everything, unfortunately. But you go in to your refund tool and you deduct, I'd say 50%. It's not worth deducting anything less than 50% because you're not getting your fees back when you're doing a partial deduction on a refund. But if you let that lapse, eBay is going to step in on your behalf. And here's the worst part. It's going to hurt your account health if they've refunded the buyer on your behalf, the full amount. Okay. Because that's eBay stepped in on your behalf to process a refund. And that's a defect that's going to hurt you. I'm a big believer in account health, and always be on top of return requests. Whether the initial request that comes in, accept it. If you have to pay for the return label, to once you get it, got to be on top of that before that date. They only give you a few days to handle these things.
We've learned that the hard way.
Yeah. Rosie Games says, hi, John and Jenna. Jenna, I hope you're feeling better. Nice to see the two of you.
Hi, Rosie. Thank you.
Thanks for being here. Let's see. PTS Treasure says, I'm planning on shifting all my items and dropping the amount of items in my store. But I just talked to the hubs about this morning. Yeah. I'm right now going to focus on getting the stuff out of my main store altogether. And I've been sitting here. If that means I'm going to be coming down to 150 or less items, then that's what it means. As long as
we have a very large pickup tomorrow.
It's a pretty good size pickup. Pretty good size pickup.
It's not as big as a pallet.
Yeah. I'm excited about it. Mad Hatter says, sitting at 81,000 sales in the year to date, up 67.2% since last year.
That's excellent.
That tells me you made some changes and you're doing something right, and you need to stay the course on that. My second chance reselling life, catching up from the beginning, but wanted to say hi to everyone. Well, thank you.
Hello.
Thank you for doing that. And Rad Relic started a Facebook auction group to start moving some of their lower items. I have an old building that I work out of, which is in my downtown, so it's perfect for a local auction.
Oh, that's cool. What's
awesome.
The name of the Facebook group? We'd like to support you.
Dan says, I can't be the only one selling out of a one-bedroom condo. I often don't have the choices of large products other people. Now, what you can do, if we're talking, look, I'm talking a $40,000+ difference between selling smaller items to larger items. Is that worth getting a very, very small storage unit in your area? Something that I had pondered, right? But I haven't run into that situation where I pondered. I like to ponder every once in a while.
Sometimes.
So it's something to consider. Is the juice worth the squeeze? Are you going to make more money? That's going to be a business expense. So it's going to be something like many of the things you pay, eBay fees, supplies, that type of thing, that's going to offset some of the earnings anyway. Let's see. Tommy says, 2 years ago when I tarted talking about, I'm going to get to that bootleg version of Hooked on Phonics. But 2 years ago when I tarted talking about donating and removing bad low dollar items, people tried to have me institutionalized. Maybe that was for other reasons, though. Yeah. But I think everything's coming home to roost in that people are now seeing it for their own eyes. And, we can blame, like we were doing over the summer. I mean, there's not as many glitches right now on the site than there were, say, 2 months ago when it was glitch here, glitch city. And that was the focus. Now it's like, okay, what's the problem now? And I think the problem now is the stuff that we're selling, and it has been that for a long, long time. Big Dre says, now that the weather is going to start cooling down, I plan to start selling at Traders Village again. It's a massive flea market with thousands of sellers and buyers. I like that.
Sounds fun.
I like that. I mean, if you ever have a yard sale and you make a few sales and you're like, I didn't do too good. You whip out the money and you're like, wow, I didn't know I made $300, right? I can just imagine how it is at a flea market. If you have, they charge you like $40, $100 for a little section to set up in. Yes, A says, yes, I crop the pics to sell similar and title change. Yeah, I mean, you're making some changes. So that's my point. Yes, if eBay is starting to catch up on the idea that people are just doing a bulk end item sell similar like I've been doing, maybe that's what's happening this last weekend. They're catching up with me. Well, it's time to continue to play the game, but now I'm going to do a few
it's
things.
A constant game with eBay. They're always it's always a game. It's just always a game. It's a game where, next week it'll be something else. AI is going to be introducing, some crazy thing as well and checking out your listing. And it's it's one thing after another. And it's not all eBay. It's not all us. It's a combination of the two.
Yeah. I like to point out, though, real quick on another subject. We've got 150 people watching. Hit the like button. But we did this live on Friday with Ed. We only had like 120. So you definitely have some fans out there that are here because that you're here. So that's pretty good.
Thank you. And I'm flattered. However, I don't believe that's true.
That's true. Salami Shamich says, "Hey, John and Jay, you're never going to be known." And number one, design. You didn't even put the 2 on there, so you're an imposter.
No one design,
yes.
Not number 1.
So you are always
you're
going
not
to be
number 1.
You're always going to be
you're
Salami
number
Shamich.
1 in my heart, but you're no one design.
Yeah, but salami sandwich. So, the Tommy Bernard podcast says my eBay sales tanked for the last week. I thought it was because I have been training my version of crackheads all week, not giving eBay the normal amount of spooning. Maybe it was issues. Maybe there's something going on, or maybe people are now not buying. I hope that's not the case. I hope it's an eBay thing rather than.
No, I don't think so. I mean, regardless of whatever it was, like my Poshmark blew up this weekend, which is not normal. Those size 2 boots that we had?
We got one left.
We have one left. I sold 3 pairs this weekend, and they've been selling throughout the last couple of weeks, but we have 1 pair left, and I'm so excited.
Did we sell or did we give them away? I mean, it feels like we gave them away.
Well, we kind of, at one point, they, unfortunately, because of all the coupons and the sales and the this and the that, it all just knocks off money off of the total, but.
Yeah. U.S. Sports Card says, first time catching live, love watching on replay. I saw eBay was doing promoted display beta and offsite ads beta. I wonder if that impacted the past week. I mean, it's just like they're changing this. If that's what's happening with promoted listings advanced, that they're, it's another offshoot of promoted listings, that you got to play that game to be inserted in someone's listing. Well, I'm kind of glad you're not considering mine then, because I think that's crappy. I don't like the practice. Someone is looking through a sea of listings on search. They finally click your item, right? They want you to convert the sale, your page view into a conversion, but yet eBay's doing everything they can to make that not happen by saying, oh, look here. Look over here at this shiny thing. And so they're trying to get down to your item description, and they're like, oh, I can get it $10 cheaper. I'm going to click here. I'm not a big fan of that. But I'm a big fan of you watching the channel, so thank you for being here. Also says, I have 58,000 plus sports card listings on eBay, and last week seemed very slow compared to the norm for me. Now, you'd think your football cards would actually have maybe had a boost, and maybe not so much for the baseball.
Well, maybe more so once we get into the season. I think one game isn't going to throw everybody up on eBay looking for sports cards.
Maybe, because they get excited about their team. Everyone starts in first place, and then they start winning and losing.
Example, did you go on eBay looking for a Raiders card?
Well, no.
Okay. Proves my point.
But I don't buy Raiders cards. What's your point?
It was an analogy.
So we got Devon says, I did not know John was driving Uber. From, I'd say, October to maybe September of last year through January, I was going out, not as often as she was going out there. I was
going out every day.
Yeah. And, it's a way to make money. Uber, we just did the Uber Eats thing, not driving people, but doing the food delivery thing. If you do it right, you can really make some money doing it. My high school best friend was just talking to him after not talking to him for like 6 months. We had a 2-hour talk. And he's doing that exclusively now, supporting a family of 3 and a wife.
5
total. And, 2 dogs, a house, a pool, all this stuff. And he's making it work. He's grinding it. So if you guys
our
are,
son does the same thing.
Yeah.
Our son, they have a family of 4, and he does Instacart and Uber and DoorDash. He does all of that, but he lives in California of all places.
mortgage,
Car
payments,
Mm-hmm.
And
So it can make a lot of money. You just have to grind.
it's a solid way to supplement a slow eBay store. And for me, the goal was always to, stop doing that and to get back to getting the listings on eBay. And finally in February, we made the change. I haven't had to mess with that.
I haven't even had to think about it.
Yeah.
And that's the blessing that happened this year for us.
Yeah. Could go on trips, and I've got some things on the side, not related to YouTube, but it is related to reselling. So have that kind of thing going on through my business, and that's been helpful as well. So things are good right now. Things are really good. Let's see. Gravity Goods says, "Hey Kelly, lurking in my afternoon walk as I listen." So awesome. Thanks for being here.
I watch Cameron all the time.
See, she takes a lot of time in watching videos. I don't. I'm constantly doing stuff. I keep myself busy from the time I wake up to the time I go to sleep. It's crazy.
He does a lot of his videos where he's listing and working.
Oh, okay. Shalami says, "It is just me, but I've noticed when Jenna is happy, her hair is happy as well. Like it is all curly and wavy and that is bounced. But then Jenna's sick, her hair shows it's all straight and calm."
Aww.
I think you're feeling better today, right?
I'm feeling bodily. I'm feeling better, but I'm still going through something.
Yeah.
So, but
family related. We'll just say that.
Yeah, it's my son.
Yeah. We're not going to go into it. Okay. Yeah, it says, "How does a one-off vintage item rank when no others are out there? That's the problem if it's not seen." Well, it depends on what the buyer is searching for. That's why I think it's a good idea to try to look for your item as if you were a buyer. Forget what the title is being, but how would you search for that item if you're looking to buy it? And if your title does not have enough room, you only get 80 characters to work with to really completely put all the keywords, then that's where your item description's for. Make sure you have a good item description. Now, a lot of people would debate that. That's because probably they're hitting on the keywords, all the keywords they need within their title, and their title is enough. But the item description is sort of an offshoot of your title. But you're just going to go in and search for your item as if you're a buyer, and it will rank. It'll come up. If I found that when I'm doing some research, if I try to take an Amazon title and copy the whole thing and paste it in eBay, I'm going to get wildly different results. Sometimes I'll get what I'm looking for. Sometimes I'm not. But if I go in and say, okay, I'm going to take out brand, I'm going to take the brand, I'm going to take the basics of what it is, and then search for that, I'll find closer to what I'm looking for. Happens all the time, and I'm just researching. Devon says no Happy Meals. So I don't know what that is, but no, I wouldn't recommend a Happy Meal. It's not healthy for you. Roman says, Devon, free Big Mac for every 1,000 listings on eBay. Wouldn't that be kind of cool if eBay did that? Like when you're in grade school, you get 20 tokens at Chuck E. Cheese if you hit a certain number of listings. John says, "Hi, Jen and John. I'm also late to the party. What's going on with slow sales? Must be all the schools opening up this time of the year on the East Coast. How's Vegas sales?" Slow this last weekend. I'm thinking that maybe there's something going on with eBay on the back end, and of course, eBay will never tell us, but I suspect there's something that maybe has taken place over the last few days. Today, my sales seem to have normalized somewhat, but I can tell you, I haven't had a whole lot of sales since we were doing our shipping this morning up until now. Trail Ahead says, "Do you recommend the buyer pay for the return or seller?" Depends on the size of the item, 100%. Buyer for like on the other store, the clearance store, I have a lot of items that are free returns, And on that, it's because it's under a pound. It's not going to cost me a whole lot if someone opens a return. But if we're talking like I had a 92-pound lawnmower, okay, and we shipped it out. They paid like $230. I think it was brand new. And the $99.99 was my flat rate. It turned out that kind of covered every scenario. And this person got it, and they claimed that, there's a problem with it. It's not the version that I had advertised. And after doing some research, there's a second one that's just like it. They're very, very similar, but they're right. And they opened a return. So now I got to pay another 80 something dollars to get this thing back. So I sent them a return label, and then they sent me a message. Hey, I could still make this work. It's brand new. It was great looking mower. Would you consider sending me 150? I'm like, well, no, I'm going to have to pay 80 for this label. I said, I will do 100 because after eBay gives me my fees back, it's going to be the same cost of the label. And I said, I'll do that. Otherwise, I can just resell it. No problem. So they agreed to it, and the return was closed and all's good. But you run into unique problems when you have big, big items. But for the most part, because I'm making some money off the shipping anyway, and a lot of these bigger items, it doesn't hurt me as bad when I have to pay for a return label. So it really depends on what you're doing. But if you're dealing with larger items, I don't want a remorse return where someone says, I don't like the color, and it's going to cost me $60 because they didn't like the color. Not into that. Jovial says, mash the like button, y'all. Well, thank you for doing that. And I hope everyone does the same. We got about 150 people watching. So I appreciate each and every one of you guys at least being here, whether or not you hit the like button. June Hodge says, just had a buyer open an INAD because the blue scarf was slightly different shade than my photos. I state there may be color discrepancies, but I'm sure eBay will side with the buyer. They will side with the buyer.
Always side with the buyer.
100% of the time, they will side with the buyer, unfortunately. So he's got to take the return. And unfortunately, it sounds like you're going to have to eat the cost of the return label. But close your ears for some of you who don't want to hear this. It's the cost of doing business. And we have to just accept it. Shirley says, hi, John and Jenna. Inspect the item on the same day that I received the item. I offered 50% partial return on the same day that I received the item, sold by eBay that they would assist me. But that's not an offer. When you're in your refund tool, it sounds like you weren't in the refund tool. But if you're processing a refund, you're setting, this is what I'm giving you. The buyer can go and dispute that with eBay, and eBay will probably make them whole. But you're saying, look, here are the photos. You got to attach photos. You got to put a reason why you're deducting 50%. And then you process the refund. That's the money you go in and send over. But if eBay processes that return, even if there's a glitch on the site that's preventing you from processing the return, and you call them and have them step in to process it for you, you're getting a defect on your account that you have to get removed. Devon says, hit the like button or the thumbs up. Yes, please. And then Salami says, Tommy, they need the house broken at first. Just spread out. This is about the crackheads. Just spread out some wee pad and some warm milk and give it a few more weeks.
Wow.
I really hope your employees know how you feel about that. Just really hope you do. I want to see you give them a Christmas card with something like this written on it. Junior says, if you win an auction and the seller cancels because you asked to cancel it and it's not true, you can't leave a negative feedback on the seller. It's not right. So if you win an auction, the seller cancels because you asked to cancel, then right, you shouldn't be able to leave a negative feedback. But if the buyer doesn't pay and you're a seller and the buyer doesn't pay, and for whatever reason, they just decide they're going to give you a negative feedback, then you can get that removed quite easily because you're dealing with seller protection at that point, and you're protected as a seller. Guide Guru says, I think it is telling for how eBay is going. Usually we get a few like button sales by now. I haven't heard anyone mention it tonight. John and Jenna might have to issue refunds tomorrow. Uh-oh.
Has anybody gotten sales since we went live? Let us know.
That's horrible. I mean, I haven't even had an offer. I had a guy that sent me a offer on a home improvement item, and the comps on this thing were free shipping, $100 roughly. Well, I had it initially $89.99 plus shipping. It's going to be like $15-20. It's not that heavy. But after my markdown sale and my coupon, it takes it down into the 70s. So naturally, it's going to be cheaper than the comps with the shipping. So this person sent me an offer for, I think they sent me an offer for $40. No. I replied back. I did a counter offer. I said, look, checked what I was into it for, checked a lot of the factors. How long did I have it listed for? And I came back to them with $60. And I said, did the spiel. I don't play the haggle game. This is the best I can do. And they replied back with an offer, the same offer. I think they came up $2. I replied back with the same message. I said, really, I can't go any lower. $60 is as low as I'm going to do. And again, they sent me another offer, 45. And I replied back the same thing. So they sent me a message. They said, I've sent you 3 offers already, and you keep replying with the same price. Well, obviously, they weren't reading why I was declining or counter offering, but they said, would you please reconsider? So they sent me one last offer, 51. I declined. Okay. And I put in the decline message that, again, I can't go any lower. Yeah, I could, but I'm trying to make money here. I'm not running a charity auction.
Yeah.
I'm not, I'm not the March of Dimes or, Salvation Army or United Way. I'm not here to, maybe you have a situation. That's not my situation. Why you can't afford it is not my business. And that's, you got to pull all the feelings aside. You may want to help somebody, but at the end of the day, I'm here to make money. That item will sell, and it'll sell probably closer to market than what this guy's willing to pay. Let's see. Biff says, if something hasn't sold in 2 years, I'd hope that people would lower the price regardless of their eBay theories.
Yeah.
But people get stuck in this. Well, I know it sold for $50 2 years ago. And so I'm into it for 10. I'm not going to go down to 30 like everyone else. And unfortunately, those people are not going to get sales. Tommy says, Jenna brings all the boys to the yard.
No. No.
Dan says, I watch because I keep asking myself how the hell he got such a hot wife.
Aww.
Well, Dan, you're not alone. I ask myself that all the time. And we have some lurkers in here.
Ooh.
Some very, very high profile lurkers.
Hey,
so
we like lurkers.
Yeah.
The good ones.
Yeah. So I'm going to give Craigslist Hunter a big bump on his channel. When we're done here, after you watch Josh's video, go check out the Craigslist Hunter's channel. There you go, Pete. I just boosted your subs.
We're gonna see Pete next month.
I boosted his subs by 0.0001%. Let's see. Sylvia says, John, I have a full bag of baseball and NASCAR trading cards, and I don't have any idea on this cards. What should I do? Well, if you have a full bag of them, number one, is it worth your time messing with? In that, look at the condition. If they're full of creases and dings and the corners are rounded, then they're probably not going to be worth your time anyway. If they're in good condition, then it's probably time to start looking them up. And I know it's a lot of work. How old are they? How do they look? Do they look like they have stamps on the back that say like 1 out of 1,500? Are there signatures on them? Things like that. If they look just like a random stack of older cards that are beat up, then it's probably not worth your while. So, and I think, was it US Sports Cards can vouch on that and put some good advice in the chat to help you a little bit more. Let's see.
You're way, you went way up. Go back.
No, just on Sylvia's. Let's see.
Oh.
Devon says Uber in Vegas is probably great money in certain areas.
In certain areas.
Right. Now, nobody in their right mind that I know of, and I can tell you I know of a few people who would not venture to the Strip, but I'm sure you probably can get really good money closer to the Strip. People like, I don't want McDonald's downstairs at the food court at their hotel, and they want a Chinese place that's down the street. Well, they're probably willing to pay a little extra money for you to deliver. But nobody that I know in their right mind does that. They find areas that are like some people like in Henderson.
That's a
some
bad business move.
Yeah. So, I mean, you could find a lot of busy areas away from the strip and make decent money. We're saying decent money if you do it right. And sometimes they have what are called quests, meaning they give you extra money for doing so many, do 3, we'll give you an extra $10. You can make 25, $30 an hour doing that. If you do it right. If you don't do it right, you're going to be making like 15 to 20. Salami says, shirts all black, check. Cap logo back, check. Tumbler black, check. A mic black, check. John's chair black, check. John's Heisenberg impression now. A wallpaper on my crackhead PC, priceless. You like that? I really got a kick out of making that thumbnail that I made, the Breaking Bad one. I got a kick out of that one. I didn't get the Heisenberg part right. I mean, didn't get the look right, but I tried.
Yeah, because the facial hair is just a little lighter.
Yeah, I didn't have a bald cap to put on. That would have been it if I would have had a bald cap. Devon says, "Oh, Jenna, I cry every night missing my son. I know everyone's situation is different. It's hard being a mother. It never stops." Yeah.
That's a fact. That is a fact.
Thrift and Flip says, got my sale printer for parts, $20 investment, $282 all in for buyer. There you go. Dan says, I was told by Philippine customer service that some of the back office removals is now done there. Hope she's lying. From the many people I've spoken to, it is a thing where for whatever reason, their specialty departments are run by the Philippine agents, and some of the frontline reps are still in the U.S. Except, and this is one way you can get a rep on the phone that's in the U.S., is to go in and request a call back through the authentication page and tell the rep that's from the Philippines that you need someone in authentication. Maybe you have some questions. You're planning on selling some shoes, and you have some questions about the authentication process before you do, and they'll put you right over to someone in the U.S. Now that I've said that, eBay's listening. If their crackhead in the corner is listening, it's probably going to be different now, but that's how I've been able to get through. Let's see. Real Relic says, just take the return on the scarf, but don't refund the original cost of shipping. That one's kind of, if you do it enough where they open an INAD and you retain the original shipping, eBay will send you a little nastygram the way they sent me. And so I'm really selective on how I handle that situation. Let's see. Shalami says, my crackhead knows they are my crackheads and they know I take care of my crackheads.
Simple, beautiful.
Says,
thank you so very much.
What happens if the buyer is not okay with the seller keeping the shipping cost on an INAD? Then what? J&J, love your show. Then the buyer will either accept it, which they probably won't, or they'll contact eBay and they will, I don't know if there's a link to dispute the return because I've never seen that side of it, but it almost always seems like when that happens, the buyer disputes it. You get a message saying, case has been opened on this, and then they'll say, it was found no fault to you. We've refunded the buyer, and you still have your money. But the bottom line is, we think, oh great, eBay took care of the buyer. They gave them their money back. But it reminds me of what my economics teacher used to tell me every day when I went into economics. He'd say, there's no free lunch. So while it seems like, wow, eBay's taking care of me, no, those are going to be rolled back into fees at some point in the future that you and I are going to have to pay for that. Kelly says, just let the dumb buyers exhaust their 4 offers. I usually give them 3. I give them 3 strikes. I don't know why I let them. Maybe they fouled this one off and I let them do it again. But normally I give them 3 strikes and I just say sorry, decline and move on. Guide Guru says, I do like some of the reasons some buyers will give you. The sob stories are the best and highly entertaining. Like, will you consider paying what I'm asking you? I'm giving you a 25% discount.
Just like, remember that one, the girl that,
oh yeah.
Woo-wee!
I had.
That chick found a soft spot in John's little heart.
The first message she gave me was, I'm sorry for all the questions. I'm disabled. Okay. So I'm going to give you a lot more leeway than someone that just wants to just ask 1,000 questions.
Oh man.
So I was
and it
extra
was
helpful.
1,000 questions.
So she had 1,000 questions. Remind you, this is after she accepted the offer on the item. So I gave as many answers as I could. I tried to be as very, very helpful as I could. She came back every fourth message. Oh, I hope you're not mad at me. And every message ended in email me back and then her name. I'm like, oh, geez. And so I did the best that I could. And then we mailed the item. And then she said, oh, did you mail it to this address? No, I mailed it to the address you gave me. And so now I'm trying to help her out. Okay, we can have FedEx drop it off at a location near you. And I'm looking up the maps, trying to find a location in her area, a Walgreens that's like a mile away. And, we went through all that. And I took her number down. I said, they're going to text you when it's at that location. And so I'm getting a text for some reason. And by this time, after the 30,000, I hope it works. I hope, can you tell me if I can get oldies on this stereo? Or I hope it's going to fit nicely in the area I'm going to put it. After I shipped it, I'm like, okay, I'm done here.
Yeah.
Block.
John,
I blocked.
just so you know, John has very little patience. But when it came to this person, his patience level grew exponentially.
Until I blocked it.
Until that happened.
Block. And guess what? 2 days after they got it, they opened a return because they said they couldn't get it to work. Now, these multi stereo systems, you have a knob for phono, for the record, AM, FM, CD, DVD. It had everything built in. I'm sure she was trying to play the records that she said she had, and she was in like AM, FM mode, and the thing wouldn't work. So I sent a return label. Now, mind you, she's blocked. She's not sending me any messages anymore. I just sent the return label. And then after about, I'd say the 10 days, because she never returned it, it timed out on the return. So sob stories, right? And I kind of allowed myself to go down that path, and it was nuts. I mean, literally, we go back and count, there's over 40 messages from this person within a week. And we're talking from the morning to late at night. And every message ended with email me back, Becky, or something like that. I'm like, oh, geez.
Yeah.
I felt bad. I didn't want to be rude at all because like some people.
You would come into my office and be like, I have to block her. I have to tell her I'm working. I am busy.
Well, no. And I eventually like after like 3 or 4 messages in a day, I'd say, I'm busy right now. I really can't talk to you anymore about your stereo. You're just going to have to wait till it gets there. Because she was like, I wonder if it'll fit under my, I don't know. Why are you asking me that?
Yeah.
So Lori Brackemeyer says 3 sales since you started. All vintage collectibles. Really appreciate. There you go. Appreciate both of you and your show. Awesome. I'm glad to hear that. At least someone's getting sales out there. Let's see. Roman says, no design YouTube listed Shalami Sandwich username for sale. I don't even know where that came from, by the way.
He was being funny one day and he changed his name, but little did he know he would have to put up with it for a little while.
Yeah, guys, when we're done, go to Pete's channel. Okay. Craigslist Hunter. He's very, very close to being monetized at some point. So please help him out with that. I agree. Can't wait to see him in a few weeks. That's going to be so fun.
Rumor has it she is sending John a spare donut.
Hey, I haven't listed that yet. I am going to. I'm going to make money off of that troll, and we're going to make about $100 off of that thing because people need those little donut tires.
Yep.
Rad Relic says, I don't deal well with people who are dumb. I don't care if it's by accident or genetics. Well, I felt bad, and I still feel bad. I still feel bad in that she probably felt like he hates me, and he blocked me, he hates me, and I guess I'll close the return. I don't know, but
who knows?
I felt bad. Has anyone else had psycho buyers? Oh, we get them.
Oh, yeah.
The buyer that had bought all those records from us last year, and then within a few weeks, they opened a chargeback on like 4 records. eBay immediately closed it in my favor, surprisingly. and to do a search on the person. That person got arrested for, I guess they were planning on shooting up a Walmart somewhere. But I'm like, okay, stay away from that guy.
Yeah.
Guy Greer says, wait a second, maybe it's the origin of the tire sender. I don't think so. No. This is a legitimate account. Had like hundreds of feedback. Good feedback. No problem on this account. So, look, I have a soft spot.
Meatball Man didn't. No.
I have a soft spot for people who have issues that can't help it. You know, I don't want to. I want to help them get through the transaction, right? I would feel bad if, you know, I upset them because I wasn't patient enough, right? So I kept that in mind every time they sent me a message, and I handled it accordingly. Let's see. Roman says, I still remember meatball situation. Oh gosh, I remember that, but let's not go there.
Well, let's not.
We should have saved it and brought some for him to sample when we see him in Cincinnati.
I will shove it in his face.
What?
The meatball.
Talk about Roman.
Oh, Roman. No, not
do that to Roman.
No. Roman.
No, I was gonna see if Roman wanted to sample it.
Oh.
I think Roman has a pretty good constitution. I think his stomach can handle things that most people's can't.
Yeah, that's probably true.
Yeah, so I wonder if he would have been able to handle a meatball. But nonetheless,
not like that.
Rad Relic says, if you're nice, know it's for free, because being nice forever pays off in the end.
Never pays off.
Never pays off. Being nice never pays off in the end. Yes, it does. In my mind, I can sleep better at night knowing that I did everything I can to be a good human being. And that helps because I get sleep. I really couldn't live with myself if I was a jerk to people, and try not to be. Let's see. Historic Publishing says, hey, John, I hope you saw my comments on your recent video, and I hope I didn't go too far with them. No. Look, there's going to be a lot of people who feel a certain way about YouTubers, right? Sometimes myself included. I had someone that said that I didn't take this bad. They said that I am very clicky. I'm with all the thumbnails and my titles. I'm very clickbaity, and I do it for views. And there's other people that say, well, this whole hogwash story about you doing it to help people, I don't buy it, blah, blah, blah. YouTube is hard to explain. It goes from you get absolutely nothing. So you're consistent with videos like I was, 2 to 3 a week. Had no live stream. We're just doing this. I was still talking to myself in the camera. Had comments and stuff, but you know, from the comments I was getting, was doing this. It was helping people, and it continues to be that way. But then you introduce the element of making money, so you start getting paid with YouTube AdSense, and it's like, cool. YouTube's paying me. People are watching. YouTube's going to throw commercials in there or not, whether or not I'm not monetized or not. So for me, it's just continue doing what you do, make a little money on this, but never make money off of people that you're trying to help. So not going to charge you for, you know, Patreons or groups or anything. I mean, I've thought like, well, okay, $1.99 for a membership to get a funky looking logo in your, you know, chat and the lives. But that's as far as I'll go. You know, it's never been about the money first. It's always been about helping people. The money's nice. I'm not going to tell you it's not, but it's not going to be what I go to over eBay. eBay is my cash cow, if you want to call it that. And YouTube is secondary. And it's a supplemental way to make money.
YouTube will always be secondary. We will never put YouTube ahead of our business, ever.
But it made me do a check on myself. Made me check myself. You know, it made me think, okay, you know what? Maybe I am a little over the top at times, because everything I do.
He's passionate.
Everything I do, from when I go bowling, when I go play golf, from when I do something, I want to be the best that I can be. And when I see people, other YouTubers, putting out this type of content, that type of content, I want to compete. It's a competitive thing for me. It's kind of like, oh, wow, I made a video, I got 1,000 views. Cool. All right. But it also tells me that I'm getting the word out to people. And I see the comments in these videos, And if I get a couple comments from people that say, wow, you really helped me, that's to me is where it's at. If I didn't get those kind of comments, I would have quit a long time ago. I don't want to be some blowhard up here that's just doing it for the views. And I get very irritated when I see people that are taking advantage of it and aren't really trying to be that helpful. So the day I become where I'm not helpful, please let me know, and I'll consider shutting it down. Let's see. I'm not going to, I'll maybe put that up there real quick. But Devon Short says, I had an unpaid buyer, and when her time was up, she went crazy.
Ooh.
Yeah, they think that they can get an unlimited layaway. And I think that's one reason why eBay is really worried they're going to lose buyers from instant payment. That's probably why we haven't seen it any sooner. Let's see here. Melissa, thanks for being here. I know this is off the subject, but can you help me when you get off live on what to set my thermal printer setting on? I set it to 4x6, but it still does not fit the whole label. Newbie. If there's one thing on eBay that drives me crazy, it's dealing with the thermal labels.
Yeah. He gets more mad at this label.
I might not be the right guy to ask. I don't have anything to
on a regular basis.
Yeah, I mean, this thing.
It's not.
I got a Rollo. I like it. So if you have a Rollo, it's going to be a little bit easier. But I would say you're probably better off going in and doing a search on YouTube. Put the type of printer, or maybe 4x6 label eBay in the Google search, and you're going to get some videos on how to set it up.
Yeah,
I would
that's
recommend
what
you do
John
that.
had to do.
Yeah. I mean, any other thing, I mean, even if you emailed me, I probably would give you the same answer, because I just, off the top of my head, probably couldn't help you.
Yeah.
Let's see. Tommy says, nothing says loving like putting a bomb as well. I'm not going to go there. Mark says, hi, I'm all in. I'm late to the live. I'm thinking about poker. My sales have been down for the 2 weeks by 85%.
Oh.
eBay must be doing something with the servers in Canada. It's not normal. My sales are always steady before. I'm pissed.
85%.
Well, the key word there that you said was Canada, because I know that Josh Galt sells in Canada and had a big goose egg this weekend.
Yeah.
So maybe there's something there. Maybe there's something there.
I'm sorry, Mark.
Rad Relics is a guy once said so and doesn't like you. How do you feel? I said I feel with my hands, other than that I don't care. I'm glad you are a great guy, and I'm just about people. I mean, I've always been, people. I got to tell you, I've been helping people in my career for the last, like out of the 26 years, it was a good 15 of it, where maybe more than that I was helping people. That was my job. I had to help people. And I now find myself, after that job, just on my own island selling things on eBay in my garage. And for me, it was just not fulfilling. And I just don't know have a better way to explain it. I even went to Florida from California to help people open a call center that took over our call center, unknowing, but I enjoyed every bit of it. So if I can help somebody through learning, and you know what, if it pays me a few bucks from AdSense, I don't know how that hurts anyone, because even like Josh, he'll put a video or a live stream up. He's not getting any AdSense revenue, but I can promise you on the replays, YouTube is playing ads on those. PJ Zcom 2050. Hi, guys. Greetings from Australia. You guys are awesome. Thanks so much for your valued and appreciated time sharing. Well, thank you. I look forward to it. Honestly, these lives are cool. I enjoy it. I mold my day around the live streams. That's for sure. Well, thank you for being here. That's awesome. It's morning time there in Australia, I believe. Let's see. Roman says Canadian service went on strike. It could be. TikTok says we need people to buy things, though. I do. I believe you're right on there. I agree, but I think people on the buying end are having problems getting the transactions taken care of. Whether they can't check out, something's wrong. Okay, it's hard for me to believe that we just got through having a holiday weekend. Sales were fine, and now the weekend afterwards, like, sales are dropping for everyone. I haven't heard one person who said that they've had great sales this weekend. So I think something's going on. Katie Pastra says, do you charge for handling to make up for supplies? I do have a $1 handling fee in my calculated FedEx price. So if eBay says with my discount that they're giving me, it's $40, they'll charge the buyer 41. Now, on my FedEx account, because I have such a good rate negotiated, I can maybe get that label for $30. So I'm making like $11 off of it. So it works out pretty good. But generally, if you're just on eBay, it's good to have a dollar built in because your supplies aren't free. Your poly bags, your boxes, your tape, all that stuff costs money. And businesses out there do that to us. They pass on their expenses to the buyer. We shouldn't be any different. Lori says, FYI, Rollo, the company has excellent customer service, will help you with anything regarding the thermal printers. I won't buy any other type of printer. Rollo is it for me. And they don't sponsor the channel, but they have been.
But if you'd like, just kidding.
I bought a Dymo back when we first, we had this laser printer back in 2019. We did everything by laser printer. We take the scissors, we cut the thing out, we take the label. That was horrible. We then said, okay, I'm going to Costco. I'm going to go pick up a Dymo. Was it Dymo 4XL? Whatever it was. Went and picked it up. Within 20 days, that thing crapped out on me. I had to take it back to Costco, get my money back, did some research. Everyone's talking about Rollo, and I bought that printer and haven't looked back since.
We've had two.
Well, we had two because we she was running labels, I was running labels.
Well, yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, we had two.
Yeah, we sold one of them because we just didn't need to keep the other one sitting around. The way we do it now. So Rollo is worth $160, $170 that it costs to get it because it's an investment in your business. PJ says, in your experience, does out of stocks affect the Cassini algorithm with search rankings for other active listings? I'm 100% convinced that if you cancel a sale due to being out of stock, even if you're not over the threshold of defects, it hurts you temporarily. I'm a firm believer in that. It's one of the things that Josh was talking about. It falls under account health. That's one of the factors. Okay. If two sellers, one has a clean record, the other one has one ding, one defect, everything else is similar, who do you think is going to get the higher ranking in search? Based on this, it's going to be the person that has a cleaner record. So I'm very, very big on maintaining your account health. I'm willing to believe out of the 140 we have listing, there's at least half of you that have accounts where you don't even know that you have a defect sitting there. And maybe you can dispute it if it's disputed. Some of them can be disputed and they'll take them off. But those are impacting in some way your account. Dan says, I only watch you and Tornado and a few others, but I can't help watching. I've sold $1 billion on eBay, Egomaniac. And, the only reason why I even bring it up is because to prove a point. I don't go in. I think I made a video back in November saying I spent $70, made $1,000. That's 100% true story on that Space 1999 thing. But I don't like to do those videos because, number one, if I have more of that product I can get, well, then I'm just kind of killing the market for myself. But I don't like I don't like it to come off as a brag. I just don't. I do talk about what I make like I did in this live stream because it builds sort of credibility. I don't want to be just some yahoo who made only $20,000 this month telling you, yeah, this is how you kill it on eBay. I think you got to be able to show the audience that you're not just talking out your butt and there is some truth to what's working for me. Now, will this work for you? Only you can, make that decision once you try it out. Brandy Vasquez says, I had great sales, triple what I normally do on a weekend. However, last weekend was horrible, only 3 things versus the normal 20. I think there's something happened last weekend. And maybe it carried over to today. I don't know. But I just think there's something going on with eBay. Bobble says, I rely on these lives to know when it's Monday or Friday. Damn life of an ADHD shut-in. I look forward to you too and the Peanut Gallery. Thank you. But, you're right. It's every day meshes with each other, The only thing that separates a weekday from a weekend for us is there's 2 days out of the week that we don't have to ship. Sad. XDS36X says, hi, Joanna. My sales were good this week. very consistent. Well,
because you said I don't know anybody that had a great sales weekend.
Yeah.
They're telling you.
Yeah.
Some people did.
But I'm just trying to figure out who's Joanna.
I don't know.
Kelly says, I turned off immediate payment, but there's a seller I'm trying to buy bulk from and they require immediate payment. So I either have to pay a ton on shipping and hope they refund or go without. So
why don't you email message the seller?
Yes.
And see if you can work that out between you two.
Yes. Tell them, and this happened to me a lot on my other account when we didn't have the immediate payment on. People would message me, hey, I'm looking to buy 5 of these. Can you combine shipping? Sure. Here's what it'll be if you buy 5. And
we get that message on my account all the time about the records. People buy multiple records and then we include the shipping or combine the shipping.
So with that, we're getting close to the 2-hour mark. I just want to thank you guys for being here with us. It seems like a lot of times we have these lives, we talk about the same thing, but I really think there's a lot of things here that a lot of people are missing. And if you're struggling with sales, what's the harm in trying something new? My suggestion is creating a second store.
Shauna, is the both of you spell check added?
Okay. So here's the deal. If your sales have been consistently low, what is it going to hurt to create another account, create another store, and put your crap on that other store? Let your crappy listings go to die there. Yeah, you're going to still maintain that account, still try to sell those listings, but free up your listings and your time for the stuff that's going to make you the money. That's the changes that I made. Now, whether or not you want to do that, that's up to you. But for me, it's another example of how flipping ain't easy. And I want you guys to have an excellent week. And we will see you guys on Friday. Have a great one, guys.
Bye, guys. We love you. Mwah.